Before the great flourishing of life, our planet's oceans were a remarkably quiet and gentle place. For hundreds of millions of years, the dominant forms of life were simple, almost like living experiments. Imagine a world where the seafloor was carpeted with strange, soft shapes. Among the very first of these were the sponges. They were not animals as we might picture them today. They had no heads, no limbs, no organs. Instead, they were simple filter feeders, drawing water through their porous bodies to catch tiny particles of food. They were the pioneers of multicellular life, a humble but crucial first step on an immense evolutionary journey. Living alongside these sponges were other peculiar organisms from a time known as the Ediacaran period. One of the most famous is Dickinsonia. This creature looked like a ribbed flat mat, something akin to a quilted pancake lying on the seabed. It could grow to be quite large, over a meter in length, yet it possessed no mouth, no gut, and no hard parts whatsoever. It absorbed nutrients directly through its body from the microbial mats below. These early life forms were soft, slow, and lived in a world without predators. They represented a peaceful, almost dreamlike state of existence, a prologue to the dramatic story that was about to unfold. The world of these soft-bodied creatures was stable, but it was a world of limitations. Without complex body parts, their ways of life were restricted. They could not chase, they could not burrow with any great efficiency, and they could not defend themselves. Their existence was a passive one, dictated entirely by the gentle currents and the availability of microbial food on the ocean floor. This simplicity, however, was not destined to last. Beneath the calm surface of these ancient seas, the genetic toolkit for something far more dynamic and complex was slowly being assembled, waiting for the right moment to burst forth and change the face of the planet forever. This ancient world, so alien to our own, serves as a vital baseline. It shows us what life was like before the great catalyst for change arrived. The Ediacaran fauna, with their gentle and simple forms, highlight just how revolutionary the next chapter in Earth's history would be. They were the quiet overture before a spectacular biological symphony. Their story is one of stillness and simplicity, a stark contrast to the explosion of diversity, complexity, and drama that was waiting just around the corner in geological time. The stage was set for an event that would redefine the very nature of life on Earth. Then, around 541 million years ago, something truly extraordinary happened. In a relatively short span of geological time, the quiet, soft-bodied world of the Ediacaran vanished and was replaced by a riot of new life. This event is known as the Cambrian explosion. It was not an explosion in the sense of a bomb, but rather an explosion of diversity. Suddenly, the oceans were teeming with creatures possessing an astonishing variety of new body plans. It was as if nature had suddenly unlocked a treasure chest of evolutionary possibilities. All the basic animal blueprints that we see today emerged during this incredible period. The importance of the Cambrian explosion cannot be overstated. It represents the single most significant evolutionary event in the history of our planet. Before this time, life was simple and uniform. After it, the world was filled with complex animals that could swim, crawl, hunt, and defend themselves. This was the moment when the first recognizable ancestors of nearly all modern animal groups appeared, from insects and crabs to starfish and even our own distant chordate relatives. It was the dawn of the animal kingdom as we know it, a pivotal chapter that laid the foundation for every ecosystem that has existed since. What triggered this big bang of life? Scientists believe a combination of factors set the stage. Oxygen levels in the atmosphere and oceans were rising, providing the fuel needed for more active, energy-demanding lifestyles. The end of a global ice age may have created new, warmer, shallow seas, perfect nurseries for life to diversify. This environmental shift, combined with genetic innovations, created a perfect storm of opportunity. It allowed for the evolution of more complex bodies, sensory organs, and behaviors, sparking an unprecedented evolutionary race that radiated in countless new directions. This period fundamentally reshaped the planet's ecology. For the first time, complex food webs began to form. The passive world of mat grazers was over. Now, there were active hunters and elusive prey. This new dynamic of predation created immense evolutionary pressure. Animals had to adapt to survive, developing armor, spines, and sophisticated ways to move and see. The Cambrian explosion wasn't just about the appearance of new animals. It was about the birth of a new, more interactive and dangerous world, one where the fight for survival would drive innovation for millions of years to come. One of the most profound changes during the Cambrian explosion was the evolution of hard parts. Before this, life was soft and vulnerable, but now animals began to develop external skeletons, shells, and sharp spines. These innovations were revolutionary. A hard shell made of minerals like calcium carbonate offered protection from the newly emerged predators. It was like wearing a suit of armor. This simple adaptation allowed many creatures to survive in the increasingly dangerous Cambrian seas. The fossil record suddenly becomes rich with these mineralized remains, giving us a wonderfully detailed window into this ancient world. Movement also became far more sophisticated. The simple gliding of Dickinsonia gave way to a whole new world of locomotion. Animals developed jointed legs for walking along the sea floor, fins for swimming through the water, and muscular bodies for burrowing into the sediment. This ability to move with purpose changed everything. It allowed animals to actively seek out food, escape from danger, and explore new habitats. The ocean was no longer a place of passive floating and drifting. It had become an arena of action, filled with creatures that could propel themselves with intent and agility. With new ways to move came new ways to find food. The Cambrian period saw the rise of the first true predators. These hunters developed remarkable new tools, sharp claws for grasping, complex mouthparts for crushing shells, and, most importantly, the first sophisticated eyes. The evolution of sight was a game-changer. An animal that could see its environment had a tremendous advantage over one that could not. It could spot prey from a distance and detect predators before it was too late. This triggered an evolutionary arms race between hunter and hunted that continues to this day. All these changes were interconnected. The appearance of predators drove the evolution of defensive shells and spines. The need to escape these predators encouraged faster and more agile movement. The development of eyes made both hunting and hiding more complex. This dynamic interplay between offense and defense is what fueled the incredible diversification of the Cambrian period. It was a time of intense competition and innovation, where the rules of life were being written and survival depended on having the right tools for the job. The Cambrian seas were home to a cast of creatures so strange they seem to have been conjured from a fantasy. One of the most famous is the trilobite. These armored arthropods scuttled across the seafloor, protected by their segmented exoskeletons. They were incredibly successful, diversifying into thousands of species. Another marvel was Wiwaxia, a slug-like creature covered in protective carbonaceous scales and long, sharp spines, a perfect example of early defensive armor. And then there was Hallucigenia, a creature so bizarre that when it was first discovered, scientists struggled to figure out which way was up. It walked on stilt-like spines and had tentacles on its back. Dominating this world was the apex predator, Anomalocaris, which means abnormal shrimp. Growing up to a meter long, it was a giant for its time. It had large, compound eyes on stalks, two formidable grasping claws at the front of its head, and a circular mouth filled with sharp, tooth-like plates. Anomalocaris was a swift swimmer and a fearsome hunter, likely preying on trilobites and other creatures. Its existence proves that complex predator-prey dynamics were well established. Alongside it swam Opabinia, a creature with 5 eyes and a long, flexible proboscis tipped with a claw, which it probably used to catch soft-bodied prey. These creatures may seem alien, but they are profoundly important. They represent the first flourishing of the animal body plans that define life today. The trilobites, for instance, are ancient relatives of modern insects, spiders, and crustaceans. Among the Cambrian fauna, we also find one of our own earliest known relatives, a small fish-like creature called Picaia. This animal had a primitive backbone, a notochord, making it one of the first chordates. It is from a creature like this that all vertebrates, including humans, eventually evolved. We can see the first hints of ourselves in these ancient waters. The story of the Cambrian explosion is more than just a tale of strange, long-extinct animals. It is the story of our own origins. It explains why the animal world is so diverse and why life took the path that it did. Every animal on Earth today, from the smallest insect to the largest whale, owes its fundamental body plan to the burst of creativity that occurred during this time. Understanding this big bang of life helps us appreciate the incredible journey that has led to the world we see around us. It is a reminder that deep in our own DNA, we carry the legacy of these Cambrian pioneers, the architects of the animal kingdom. And if you enjoyed this journey through deep time, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment which creature blew your mind the most.